Our next guest is a gentleman that is a Czech advocate and arbitrator. His first legal job was with a U.S. law firm, White and Case. 15 years ago, he founded his own law firm. He now has 30 lawyers working for him and with him. He's the co-author of a commentary on the Civil Code and editor of a commentary on a private antitrust enforcement procedures. He is also the founder of a community website for discussion of new civil code that is referenced by 10,000 Czech lawyers every month back in the Czech Republic. I didn't know they had 10,000 Czech lawyers back then. Tell me that's true. I know we have 40,000 Cook County attorneys, so I can believe that. He is an aviation enthusiast. He has flown since the age of 14, is the Czech national champion and flight instructor in airbag flight, if I got that right. Very good. On the occasion of the Czechoslovak centennial, he has recently accomplished the first Czechoslovak solo circumnavigation in an American-built Cessna, and he called the mission, the project mission, Winged Lion. So, without further ado, can I bring to the stage Roman Kramarik. Please come on up.
So I'm the third lawyer in the line. Now I start to understand all the American jokes about lawyers, because if you have so many of them, you really need to make jokes about them. But I'm not going to talk about law. Ladies and gentlemen, dear Czech and Slovak patriots and friends of Czechoslovakia and the Visegrad countries. Many of you have probably heard the saying, co Čech to muzikant. Can I ask you hands up who has ever heard it? Co Čech to muzikant. In English, there is a piece of musician in every Czech. Anybody heard it? That's what at least Czechs believe is the case. And I'm sure you could name a long line of Czech composers who are responsible for that saying. Now, right next to that piece of musician that's in every Czech, I will argue, in every Czech there is also a piece of aviator. And I'll tell you why. Powered flight is only a tiny little bit older than our young country. And the founding fathers of our country have been aviation enthusiasts themselves. You probably know the story of Milan Rastislav Štefanik, who even before the country was set up, he was recruiting the young pilots in the lazarets to fly, because flying was considered to be not fighting because you were sitting like in the office. He also found his death in a poorly built Italian airplane, but this was after he set up the Czech Republic. Tomáš Garrigue Masaryk was also a great aviation enthusiast, but he was more careful than Štefanik, and actually himself, he has never flown. Thanks to the support of the leadership and the ingenuity of the Czechoslovak people, we did achieve quite something in aerospace. No country of a comparable size can claim to have built a helicopter or a training jet from scratch, including the engine, including the instruments. No country. No country in the world can claim to have so many world champions in aviation disciplines per capita, I have to say, because Russians do. as Czech Republic. If you correct the per capita numbers, we will have by far the most world champions. If you look at the achievements of the airmen and the engineers, where they have taken the aviation industry, it's amazing what they have achieved. No wonder that Mr. Boeing has recruited some guy called Miroslavak as his personal pilot. Anybody heard the story of Miroslavak? He was one of the emigres who actually kidnapped his own plane as a captain of Czech Airlines, landed it in a German airbase in Germany, actually including a group of apparatchiks who were passengers, and then settled here in the States. And this guy was recruited by Mr. Boeing as his personal pilot. Now, I was inspired since childhood by the achievements of what our countrymen did in aviation, and so no wonder one of my first 10 words was airplane. And I started flying as early as 1989 and have been flying since. And as the centennial was approaching, I decided I will take our Air Club's Cessna for a ride for the first Czechoslovak circumnavigation. It was an ordinary Cessna, pressurized 210, but with an extraordinary tail number. Tango Golf Mike. Oscar Kilo Tango Golf Mike. The initials of our first president. Being a lawyer, I took a legal approach to preparing the mission. So what would have normally been an adventure, I have turned into boring and well-prepared transaction. In fact, there were no adventurous moments as I flew. Nothing broke down, no administration held me back, and weather only forced me once to make a diversion. This was in India, and I knew as I was taking off that I was taking off not for my destination but for my alternate. If you compare my trip to an ordinary catalog holiday from an agency, I would probably call it boring because it went according to plan, unlike an ordinary catalog agency which rarely goes according to plan and you rarely get what you saw in the catalog. Now, of course, it was not a catalog holiday. It wasn't a holiday at all, in fact. But I got some exciting moments. Those exciting moments did not come from flying itself. Yes, I did have to make a diversion. I did have to repair a stone damaged probe in Thailand where there was nobody to help me with the repair, so I had to go to a jewelry maker shop to buy all the tools and repair the probe. But the excitement came from meeting people. Meeting people around the world and meeting people who helped me in reminding my countrymen back home about what true patriotism means and about what being proud of the Czech Republic means. I've met a large number of them. You have seen the picture of the most prominent. He himself is not a Czech patriot. His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. But I met him to talk about a patriot who is not amongst us anymore, and we had some wonderful discussion about the memories he had about Václav Havel. And as I proceeded to the United States, which is the home to most patriots outside Czech Republic, I met, and that's also the reason why I'm here. I met a very large number of them, and I would like to stop here for a moment to extend my very special thanks to Kristina, who's hiding here behind Kristina and her foundation, who arranged on a very short notice a meeting with patriots here in Chicago, where I met in one day more patriots than in the whole of United States during the rest of my trip. Now, of course, I have to focus on flying rather than meetings, or primarily on flying. I have to say that thanks to this very dependable Cessna, I did not have any technical issues except for a little bit of maintenance on the autopilot I had to do. Weather was extremely kind to me. Sometimes I thought that my angels had a really hard job for those 6 weeks. And thanks to all of them, I made it safely home after 6 weeks of hard work and flying almost every second day. And I've fulfilled my dream. Now, I think you all have also fulfilled your dreams, you or your ancestors did. The dream of living in America. As I flew through here and met a large number of you, I realized one thing, and that is that whilst fulfilling that dream, you did not forget about your home country. And you did not forget about Czechoslovakia, and you all are wonderful patriots. So in closing, when I was sending my reports to Czech radio, I always reminded the audience and I appealed to them to be proud for being Czechs, because very often we at home forget about that. I'm very glad I do not have to make that appeal here, because you all would be teaching lessons on patriotism. So instead of that appeal, I would like to close by expressing a wish. And that wish is, when somebody in the 200-year anniversary does a circumnavigation, it's probably not going to be me, and that's not because I will probably have an expired medical by then. I had to promise my wife that this is going to be the final circumnavigation before I got my departure permit. So when somebody does that circumnavigation in 100 years' time, I hope that he will find a striving community of united patriots here in the States, and he will come back home as excited as I did. Thank you very much.